I need to keep this with me. Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, February 21st. A couple of seconds and see who joins me tonight. Hey, Miss Carla. I don't want my teacup to fall off this table. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Today is February 21st, 2024. Welcome to the Trap Lounge. My name is Kim Evans, and I am your trap therapist. Don't pay me no mind. That's my cat tonight. That's not my dog. That's Cookie Big Deer playing with a straw. Animals do the funniest things. She has a cat tower, whatever kind of cat furniture. You can crawl on it, walk on it, play on it, bounce on it, and she doesn't play with it. So she's back there playing with a piece of straw for one of my plants. So I just want to welcome everybody to the Trap Lounge. I want everybody to know that this is a safe place where we can come and discuss mental health, mental illness, stigmas behind mental health and mental illness, and also get some psychoeducation about mental health and mental illness. I'm not sure. I have my disclaimer up for Facebook. So Facebook is on my left. We have my YouTube channel in the middle, and on my right hand side, we have our Instagram social media. So don't forget to share this, share this, share this. And if you're able to, can you go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called The Trap Lounge? Trying to expand a little bit. Trying to explain a little bit. Don't want to do too much too soon, as my daughter would say. Mom, you're doing too much. So let's get into tonight's topic because it's a juicy one. But before we do that, Miss Carla had already posted up her little hearts. All right, Miss Carla, I'm glad you are feeling okay. This is what we do every week. We do our midweek check-in. I post this up here, and I know it was late today. Today was kind of hectic on the lines. I also had a delivery that I had to make. So I had to run on my lunch break, make this delivery, and hope that I got back in time so I wouldn't be late from off my break. So I posted this kind of late around like 6:30 tonight. The midweek check-in. I posted it. And it's just some emoji hearts here so you can identify how we're feeling out through the day. And so it says this red emoji heart that says, I'm doing great. Miss Carla posted up her blue emoji heart that says she's doing okay. I also posted that up the other day, Miss Carla, I am doing okay. The yellow emoji heart expresses that you're feeling mine. There is also a, did she not just like not knock my light out? Did she not just, I'm glad I got the other one up there. Let's see. I'm looking a little dark. Just let me see something. Yeah, that's too bright. That's too bright. That's too bright. That's why I had that light over there. Turn it out. All right. This one light on tonight. We have a green heart that says things are tough. I'm struggling. That purple heart is saying I'm having a hard time. And I wouldn't mind if someone was to reach out to me. Our broken heart that says I'm really in a dark place. Please, please, guys, if you're in a dark place, text message me or DM me right after this live is over so I can direct you for some help, or I can direct you and I can talk to you about what's going on. Never hesitate. Never hesitate. I will leave my personal number in your inbox. Never hesitate to want to talk to somebody. Never hesitate if you're in a dark place or if you're having a hard time and you wouldn't mind if somebody was to reach out to you. Please DM me right away. We have this orange heart, no, it's a pink heart up here that says I'm having some harmony and balance in my life. We have an orange heart that says I'm feeling optimistic and uplifting. We also have that brown emoji heart. And on that brown emoji heart, we have the emoji poop that I'm feeling really shitty right now. Our white emoji heart states that I'm having mixed emotions, some blankness, some innocence, some minimum things. You don't want to really do a lot, but you know you got a lot to do, but you're going to do the minimum of that so you can feel accomplished. Our gray emoji heart that says I'm feeling cool and self-restrained. We also have that light blue emoji heart that says I'm relaxing and being friendly. And then our last one is that black emoji heart that says I'm having some sadness and anger go on. If you would like this little diagram, just let me know and I'll just email it to you or send it to you via inbox. It's cool to have. Again, I use it with my kids a lot. If I haven't heard from them in a while, I'll send out a text and they'll answer right back quickly. And if they don't, I'm calling. I like to check in with my children, with my grands, and with a couple of people that I adore and love in the morning. I do a check-in every single day. Good morning. That's the first thing you think of in the morning is good morning, how someone's doing, sending some encouraging words. So I do it every single day. So that is our midweek check-in. I am doing okay today. It was busy on the lines today, but you know, when is it not busy on the lines? How many people, if you out there, watched the Super Bowl last week, and they said that we were supposed to have a 988 commercial on the Super Bowl. I posted what they said we were supposed to see. Maybe I was late to something. I didn't see the actual 30-second commercial for 988, but they have billboards all over in Philadelphia for 988. So 988 is a universal national suicide prevention hotline, and in Philly, it's 988 Philly. So if you have a 267 number, 215 number, or a 484 number, sometimes 610 gets through to us as well. You'll get connected to 988 Philly. Even if you're living in New Jersey and you have a 267 number, you never change that number over to a New Jersey number, you'll get 988 Philly. If you're living in Florida and you have a 215 number, you never got your number transferred over to a Florida number, you'll get 988 Philly. However, once you get 988 Philly, we're able to transfer you over after we do a safety assessment to someone in your state that can help you and provide you with resources. It's universal. It's also national. So it is in some countries. We do have a list of national suicide hotlines in some countries. It's broadening, guys. It's broadening. It's just, this thing is becoming huge, and it's what we need in our times that we're in right now. So last week I was not here. I was not online. It was Love Day. I got so many things. I got like 3 tea bags in there, some burdock root, soursop, and I have a lemon tea bag from Wawa. Just so much swimming around in there. Oh, but I was not here last week. It was Valentine's Day. We didn't do anything really special. I worked, he worked, but we were able to relax, if you want to call it that. But last week I showed a YouTube video. If anybody had a chance to watch that video, it was called 7 Surprising Ways to Heal Trauma Without Medications. And this Dr. Chatterjee interviewed Dr. Bessel Van Der Kolk. Dr. Van Bessel is a professor at the psychiatry of Boston and Boston University, and he is also the author of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And if anybody's in the psychiatry world, the psychiatric world, the mental health world, social worker, case manager, anything like that, you know what The Body Keeps the Score is. It's an awesome, awesome book that Dr. Van Der Kolk wrote about trauma. And he was saying that trauma robs you of the feeling that you are in charge of yourself. So when you go through a traumatic experience, it robs you of the feeling that you are in charge of yourself, your body. He's talking about your body. When you're having a traumatic experience, your reaction and how you cope, you're not in control of it. You get these intense emotions after trauma. You can continue to try to cope through life, but you'll keep reacting to just small stuff. You'll have thoughts that people around you maybe make you feel a certain way, have you thinking a certain way. And then so he started getting into trauma versus stress. And I think we identified this before. What's the difference between trauma and what's the difference between stress? Stress, you can get over stress. It disappears. Let me give you an example of stress. Stress is you're backed up on a project at work, or you come into work and you have more than 3 or 4 clients. So that means somebody called out from your job. Now you have to take on half of their caseload. Now you're stressed for that day. If you come downstairs and your refrigerator and you were in your mind thinking, I'm going to go eat this snack, and you go to your refrigerator and their snack is gone, you get a little stressed, you get a little frustrated, you get a little overwhelmed. But you'll find another snack. So that stress will disappear. Trauma is a reaction that doesn't stop. You get aroused intensely by minor issues. So trauma is a reaction in the body that doesn't stop. You kind of get stuck. And he kept saying that in that interview that he was doing with Dr. I'm going to get his name mixed up. Dr. Chatterjee. So we feel trauma in our body. Even though it happened long ago, you still feel it in your body. And that's why he says the body keeps score. Now, he was saying 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men experience some type of trauma. It can be physical, it can be sexual abuse, it can be domestic violence, but these things are more common than we know. They're more common. Traumatic experiences is more common than we know. Us as society tries to downplay a traumatic experience. And what I have been learning while I've been on the 988 line is that everybody that calls, they're in a crisis, no matter what I think. I'm a crisis counselor. No matter what I think, they're in crisis. So you can't say, well, this person witnessed somebody get robbed. They didn't get robbed, so they don't have a traumatic experience. That's not true. You can't say this person was an a fender bender. They didn't have that much damage done to their car. Nobody had to go to the hospital. That's not trauma. That's not exactly true. Every experience is individualized, is what Dr. Van Kolk was saying. The two things that he was talking about that was a big eye opener to me was why we don't think that, trauma is so common is because of we'll blame ourselves, and there's some shame to that. When something happens to you, you blame yourself, and there's some shame to it. And so there's this secrecy thing. I don't want to tell anybody what happened. I just want to forget about what happened. It happened. I'm going to move on with my life. If you don't process that, things start to happen. And so I think I'm going to post this probably tonight. Listen to me well. If you ignore your emotions, your body will start screaming to be heard. Can't see it, but that's what that says. I wanted to make sure you understand. If you ignore your emotions, your body will start screaming to be heard. And that's why he's saying the body keeps score. When you're going through a traumatic experience, event, your body will keep score of that. Your body, if you're not processing it, your body will always go into that traumatic mode, that traumatic experience, no matter how long ago it happened. They were talking about social environments, so how you were raised, how you were nurtured, how you were taken care of, who's supporting you, who's helping you to feel safe again. So your support system. That all matters. So if you got out of a domestic violence relationship, and let's just say you went to a shelter, and in the shelter it's loud there, you don't really have your own privacy, you don't have your own space, that can be another traumatic experience. And so then I was thinking, let's go with the human connection that they talked about a little bit. And they didn't talk about Bowlby attachment therapy. They didn't talk about this in this video that I showed last Wednesday. But I wanted to make a point of, and I always say this, it starts in your childhood. Now, some people may have not had a traumatic experience in their childhood. It might have started in your adulthood. But Bowlby attachment therapy proposes that the emotional and social development of an infant, a baby, is profoundly shaped by their relationship with their primary caregivers. Listen to me closely. We are wired at birth to form attachments. It's a mechanism that serves as a survival strategy for us. So while this baby is in mama's womb, getting all his fingers and toes, getting his skin, its ears, its eye colors, its lips, its spinal, all this is forming within it 9 or 10 months inside the mom's womb. The baby is hearing mom's voice. The baby is also hearing daddy's voice. The baby is hearing everything that's happening around in that environment. So when baby comes out, the first thing baby does, they might slap the baby on the butt to make the baby cry, or the baby just come out crying because it was in this nice warm spot. You know, the baby stays bundled up in it. It was in this nice warm spot, and they give the babies. They didn't do this back in the day, Miss Carter. Did they give you a baby naked back in the day and had the baby lay on your chest? Or they clean the baby off real quickly and swallow your baby and then give you your baby? Because today, in today's time, they give the baby right to, they make sure the baby is all right. They do that quick checkup of the baby, make sure the baby's breathing okay, make sure there's nothing in the baby's mouth and his, in his nose, and then they put the baby right on the mother's chest, and they cover the baby up with mom. That's that second of attachment. I know mom's heartbeat because I was in mom's belly for 9 or 10 months. I know mom's voice because I've been hearing it for 9 or 10 months. Carla said, yeah, she thought she had the wrong baby. I remember them doing that to with me and my daughters. Well, I was asleep with Wasima. Picture that. But I was asleep when I had my oldest daughter. I was asleep. And then with the youngest, she gave me such labor pains. Oh, she looked Chinese. Carla said her baby looked Chinese. But they do that immediately. And another thing they don't do in childbirth is immediately cut that umbilical cord. See how times change, how things are evolving, how science, because this is exactly what Dr. Van Der Kolk was talking about. This is science. This is research that he was getting into. But how science, how you learn things in the medical field. Don't cut that baby umbilical cord so rapidly because it's still nutrition going through the umbilical cord. Having that baby lay on skin to skin on mom's chest, they're getting that attachment. They do the same thing with Papa Bear, with the dad. If dad is there, dad hold the baby. Put the baby on your chest, skin to skin. They can smell them pheromones. That's how you get attached to your baby. And your baby immediately hears your voice and your baby's looking at you. Because the babies open their eyes now like, hey, I'm here. They open their eyes and they can hear their mom's voice very distinctly, very clearly. So when he's talking about your social environments, now imagine in a womb, baby still in the womb, mom didn't deliver the baby yet. There's so much commotion going on in the environment. There's yelling, there's screaming, there's noise, there's partying, there's fussing and cussing. The baby listens to all of that. So when the baby comes out, it already has a hyper of alertness to the environment. Pay attention, y'all. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind how we adapt to our environment before we even come into that environment. And this is what I'm saying about that. We do it even now. When we're invited somewhere, someone invite us to a place, what do we say? What's the first thing we say? Who all over there? Who coming? You want to know about your environment before you get there. Because it depends on if who's there, am I going to show up? Because certain people changes the atmosphere or the environment when they show up in a place. So I don't want to go anywhere where there's drama. I don't want to go anywhere where there's going to be violence. I don't want to go anywhere where it's going to be too much drinking, and I don't really drink because when people drink, things start to happen. It was on the news tonight. I think it was in Allentown. There was a family dispute, and they texting back and forth via text. And so I guess one of the family members, this is what I'm thinking. The family member said, "Pull up." And what happened? The other family member pulled up. But when the other family member pulled up, they had their squad with them. It was supposed to be a conversation between two people, some type of dispute, some type of confusion, and the family member said, pull up. And the guy on the news said, we would be able to sit down at the dinner table with your family to discuss disputes. But what happened in this situation was when the other family member pulled up with the other people, they squad with them, somebody had a gun. 4 people got shot. This is family to family. How traumatic is that? How traumatic is that? As Dr. Van Der Kolk was saying, trauma is much more common than we think. Hey, Minister Z. Trauma is much more common than we think. Trauma affects each and every person on some level, but individualized. So again, if I'm walking down the street and I get robbed and someone's walking in front of me or next to me, or we're at the bus stop, I get robbed, they don't. They're still affected by that incident. If you're on the bus and a fight breaks out in the front of the bus, you're at the back of the bus, you're still going to be affected by that incident. If you're in the mall and somebody starts shooting and everybody's running, you're still affected by that traumatic incident. On some level, individually, who we interact with, it affects us. So again, you could grow up in your childhood and have nothing, you had a great childhood, you had great parents, you had great interactions with your siblings, great interactions with your in-laws, all these things. Nothing happened in your childhood, but something happens in your adulthood. If you don't process the trauma that happened in your childhood, it's going to run into your adulthood. Now, Dr. Bowlby was not Dr. Bowlby, I'm sorry, that's attachment theory. Dr. Van Der Kolk was saying a third of all couples engage in some type of violent trauma living with someone that they can be triggered by. So if you've ever been involved in a relationship with someone, they possibly could have been in a violent relationship. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional. It can be verbal. And once they get out of that relationship, because we are social beings, we want to get into another relationship. We get into that relationship, and then you didn't process your trauma, which is trauma sensitive. Once you're with that other person, something triggers them. Maybe the way you said something, maybe the way you smell, maybe the way you looked at them. It triggers their trauma. And you're like, what is going on here? Why are you so angry? Why you shut yourself off to people? Why don't you trust? You're triggering their trauma that was never treated. The same thing with children. If you have a child that was told to be quiet, to shut up, talk when you're spoken to, or popped in the mouth all the time, they're going to become an adult that can't communicate well. Their safety mechanism is to shut down. They would not tell you how they feel. They would not tell you if they're hurting or not. Sometimes they won't even tell you if they're hungry. The only way you're going to get that child to communicate is when it's time for them to void. Meaning they'll go to the bathroom on themselves. They'll defecate on themselves. They may even smear the BM all over the walls. Remember when I was talking with Jay Garrell, and we were speaking about how do some of our homeless friends protect themselves? They may smell. They may have a strong smell, a strong odor, but it's on their clothes. It's not on their person, but that's how they protect themselves. I wouldn't want to go near someone that smells unclean, but that's a protection for them. It's the same thing with kids. They shut down very quickly. And if they shut down and they're not able to process those traumatic incidents with those feelings, those emotions, they're going to grow up to adults that shut down, that don't trust, that can't form bonds with people. Again, if you ignore your emotions, your body will start screaming to be heard. Trauma can play a role in your physical conditions. Now, they were getting at, and this was just amazing to me, and I'll get into some physical symptoms that your body can have when it's going through a traumatic experience. They were talking about fibromyalgia. And Dr. Van Kolk was saying, if you dig deep enough. So when you have your patients you go to your doctor, and your doctor's asking how you doing. Well, I'm fine. I'm having this pain in my back. I can't really sleep at night. I'm having these headaches, or fibromyalgia. Now, they don't know still how the person breaks down with the fibromyalgia, but they know that it's a very nervous and chronic upset in a person. It happens in the immune system. And so what I was looking at, fibromyalgia is a chronic, long-lasting disorder that causes pain and tenderness throughout the body, as well as fatigue and trouble sleeping. It affects memory and mood. It's a heightened sensitivity to pain. It's more common in women than in men. But Dr. Van Der Kolk was saying, if you dig a little further, and this is when he was talking about, and this is what I love about this white man. I think I don't know if he's an Anglo-Saxon or if he's an Englishman, but Dr. Van Der Kolk was talking about the system. The system. We're talking about the medical system. We're talking about the mental health system. Because get his name right. I want to get his name right. Dr. Chatterjee is a medical doctor. Dr. Van Kolk is a psychiatrist. He's in the psychiatric field. You had a medical doctor asking a psychiatrist some questions, and they were putting some things together. But what they was talking about in the system is you can't sit with your patients for a long time and try to dissect everything that's going on with that person. You'll have a history of diabetes, high blood pressure, maybe some cholesterol. You'll have all the medical things in there, but you never got to the point of having some history of trauma and never explored it with your patient. And I'm talking about on the physical side. On the physical side. Now, I'm just going to use me. For instance, I've gained some weight. I don't like that I gained the weight, but I've gained some weight. I exercise. I was exercising 5 days a week, walking 5 miles every day. It slowed down when the winter came. So of course, I can't go outside because it's too dark. So I started doing it 3 days a week. Still was eating properly, but the weight never moved. So I was saying something's wrong. Something's wrong. My back started hurting me. My migraine started getting a little bit more intense. I was not able to sleep. Girl, you act like you over there fighting, honey. I was not able to get any sleep. And I was real moody, just moody. So I go to my doctor, and she says, well, right now, Kimball, you're between the age, of perimenopause. And I'm like, what is that? And she's telling me what perimenopause is. It's menopause, is the beginners of menopause. Now, mind you, I'm only 45. But I had some surgeries, got my woman parts removed. And so it jump started me into perimenopause. And so she was looking at the physical, the pain, the weight gain, the migraines, but she didn't look at the mental, the moods. I'm diagnosed with depression. I've been diagnosed with depression since 2001. So the moods, when they were coming really heavy with the migraines. Now, remember, I told you guys that I'm on a medication for my migraines, but the medication also treats depression. Now, while I'm sitting talking to the physical doctor about the weight gain, about the perimenopause, she puts me on a hormone replacement to try to offset the moods. Now I have to make an appointment with my neurologist because I'm still having the moodiness. I'm cranky. I don't want to answer my phone. I start thinking about stuff. People would bother me just in general. People would they would trigger me, actually. That word trigger. They would trigger me. And I know my trigger is to get defensive. If I feel like you're pushing up against me, I'm gonna push back. So these two doctors were saying, if you sat down with your patient long enough and asked them certain questions, that person may have experienced some trauma either in their childhood or in their adulthood, which could exacerbate either the physical symptoms or the psychiatric symptoms. Both of these doctors, one is a medical doctor, one is a doctor for the mind. They were both saying, with the system, doctors don't sit down long enough to know their patients to say, okay, so let me give you some medical or physical symptoms of it can be possibly trauma in your body, and you don't even know, you don't even realize that it's trauma in your body, that something already happened and you're reliving it. The body keeps the score. If you get a chance, Google this man's book from Dr. Van Der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score. It talks so much about your body and how your body goes through trauma. Remember, the body can't live without the mind, and mind can't live without the body, and our spirit is all in it. So it's a 3-part system. But the physical symptoms of trauma can be fatigue and exhaustion. It can be nausea and dizziness. You can have headaches. You can have sleep disturbance, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Increased heart rate, some anxiousness, some worrying, some overwhelming feelings going on, some excessive sweating. You can have tension in your body, in the back of your neck, in your legs, poor circulation. These are all physical things, but it's intertwined or intercepts with trauma. And let's go to the psychiatric, the mental. There'll be with some fear, anxiety, some guilt, anger. Anger is the number one thing. Anger, depression. Now, what Dr. Van Der Kolk and Dr. Chatterjee, I don't want to get his name mixed up. This man, I want to give him. I want to give him his credit. Dr. Chatterjee was saying a lot of people will doctor hop. And Dr. Van Der Kolk was saying this too. You have a lot of African Americans, people of color, that are afraid of white doctors. So when they go to the doctor, and here's comes this man or this woman in this white coat, she coming in, and she's telling you that nothing that you want to hear, especially if you don't go to your doctor every year. Get your checkup, talk to your doctor about things. Once you go, once you have a problem, now you're going in. You're in a crisis. Something's wrong with your physical health. You're in a crisis. Now you're going in to see this person that you've never seen before. Can't believe my grandma is actually, she done this. My girl, she's about to be, well, she has a birthday in 4 more days. She's about to be 83 or 84. And she wasn't going to the doctors. I'm like, what is wrong? Because she wasn't liking what the doctor was telling her. And of course, she wasn't telling us. Doctor took away her driver's license. My grandma couldn't drive. She was forgetful. She would forget where she was going. She would forget where she was living. She was in so many car accidents. So the doctor took away her driver's license, told her, MC, you can't drive anymore. And my grandmother is a very, very independent person. And she didn't like that. So she stopped going to that doctor. And she tried to go to another doctor. And so a lot of people do the doctor hopping. And it's trauma. It's trauma. I go to the doctor and the doctor don't tell me what I want to hear. Now they're telling me that I have maybe a lifelong chronic illness. And you probably knew something was going on in your body. And you just went to the doctor. You just went in. And now this doctor is telling you what you probably already knew. So it says that if you're getting timely help and support, you may be able to prevent normal stress from getting worse and then developing into PTSD. So that's normal stress. If you're going to your doctor as much as you can for the fatigue, the exhaustion, the nausea, those butterflies in the stomach, the dizziness, the headaches, the distribution, the disturbing of your sleep difficulty, falling or staying, excessive sweating, increased heart rate, if you're going for those things, even for the fears. Like I said, if I got robbed and now I'm fearful of going out in public, but I gotta get out. I have to go to work. I have to run errands. I have to go to the grocery market. But now we're in 2024. I can have Instacart. They can deliver all my stuff to me. Amazon can deliver all my stuff to me. I work from home 1 day a week, y'all. I work from home 1 day a week. But if I was fearful of this, this thing of being robbed, things taken away from me, a gun being pointed out at me, I was not in control of anything. I would try my best not to be outside as much. So with trauma, you recreate those feelings in your body if you don't process your trauma. And so Dr. Van Der Kolk was saying, feeling lost, you ask yourself, what can I do? I don't want to stay like this or feel like this forever. When you're going through these traumatic experiences. And so he's saying when the body keeps score, we need to feel safe in our own bodies. And so if you ever went through a traumatic experience, car accident, if there was a violent thing that happened in a big arena, like natural disasters, a lot of people have a traumatic experience from 9/11. A lot of people have the traumatic experiences from the earthquake in Haiti. A lot of people that are crossing the border now are having traumatic experiences because sometimes that water can rise and it can be so rough. And you got children, little babies going through that water. And they saying every day they're finding some bodies. Those are traumatic experiences. So in the mind, when we're talking about how we need to feel safe in our bodies, he's saying in the mind, we perceive how we feel in our bodies. And so let's just go to something. I can say this can be less intense, but again, this is individualized. Something as simple as heartache or a heartbreak. You in a relationship with someone and you guys break up and you experience the heartache. What do you feel in your body? Where do you feel it at in your body? Your stomach and in your heart. And so if you don't process that, there comes some depression. It'll be some guilt, possibly some anger, and it'll all be in your body. So when something hurtful happens, we feel it in our bodies and in our chest. And he was using the word gut wrenching. You feel it here, and it moves up. And what he was breaking down was gut wrenching is a deep disappointment and betrayal in your body. That gut wrenching feeling. You're disappointed and you feel betrayed, and it's all in your body. And so one of the things that I listened to that Dr. Van Der Kolk said was, when you picture joy, your hands are up, your mouth is open, you're either yelling, yes, yay, or something joyful. You have a nice smile on your face. Your body is opened. Your lungs can breathe, your arms are up, your body is opened. But imagine that heartache or failure, your body clams up. So when you're clamming up, when you feel stuck, he kept saying people feel stuck in trauma. When you feel stuck, your body clenches up. It's in the fight or flight response. It doesn't know if I want to run away or do I fight it off. That's why they say with some rape victims, they don't fight because they already disconnected themselves from their bodies. They had their out-of-body experience. They're not there. So understand that when you're having a traumatic experience, you are disconnected from your body. And the only way I can make you guys see this is in the movie Ghost. When my man Patrick Swayze, he gets shot, right? He gets shot. Somebody's trying to rob them and he gets shot. Now, he doesn't know that this gunshot was fatal, meaning he died right there on the spot. He leaves his body. And he sees all these people having commotion around, trying to figure out what's going on. And then he looks and it's him on the ground. The disconnect from the body. The disconnect from the body. I wanted to try to get into, okay. So he said the disconnect from the body, you can be frozen in your body, the stuck feeling. There's a lot of helplessness. We as mammals, as people, as human beings, we like to be as independent as we can. So someone that was in a car accident per se, and a car accident was really, really a bad car accident. So now this person, let's say, is paralyzed from their waist down. They can't feel their legs, they can't walk anymore, but they have upper body movement. They feel hopeless and helpless because they're not as independent as they used to be. They say, I can't feel my legs, I can't feel my legs. There's pain from the head and the legs. They feel detached from their legs. And so they were both saying, both the medical doctor and the psychiatric doctor was saying, you have to listen to real people who experience the trauma. So this is what I'm telling you guys. Things are changing in both the physical health field and the mental health field, that they are looking for you to say, I feel it in my chest. Doctor, I get so anxious. Sometimes I can't breathe. It feels tight up in my chest. They'll know to check for the physical first. Is it a heart attack? Is it asthma? Is it gas? They'll do all of those things. They'll check all off the health things. Then they'll start checking off of what could it possibly be on the mental health side. Remember, they do a depression screening when you go to the doctor anyway. But they're trying to combine both things together. So imagine if you went to your doctor and let's say you had a bad breakup. And you go and you tell your doctor, my heart hurts all the time. I can't breathe. I can't seem to get out of bed. No, my body feels really heavy. And your doctor's asking you all these questions. And you don't have any physical symptoms going on. Your doctor's going to ask you some other questions. And you're like, why are you asking me that? You're my primary doctor. You're the doctor for health. They're trying to correlate both of them together. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We have come so far in the mental health field. We're not where we're supposed to be at, no doubt about it. But we have come so far. A prime example is with your children. I know when I was going to the doctors, the doctor never told my mom to leave out the room and let me talk to me. Like I'm the patient, like I matter. My mom was always there because my mom paid for my health insurance. I don't even think I got that opportunity at all. But when my kids got to a certain age, I believe 13, 14, the doctor would say, do you want your mom in a room with you? And my kids were like, no. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave out. I gave my kids their privacy. I was never upset because I already knew, because I was in the medical field, I already knew what was coming. Because the reason why they start doing this, because they start finding out that the child was being abused, and who was the abuser? The mom, the aunt, the dad, the foster parent, and they were right in the room. So when the doctor would ask the child something, how did you get that bruise? How did your arm become broken? What happened? The child can't say anything because the abuser is sitting right in the room. So now, if your child is 14 years old, they can sign their own consents for medical. You have a lot of parents saying, I don't want my baby on no birth control. Her fast such and such and such and such. She's gonna be out there having, but I believe, this is my opinion, it's best to have them on something than to not have them on nothing at all. And then you'll be making the decision for your child, or you get an abortion because we're not having this baby. And that's traumatizing as well. What time is it? Okay. I'm gonna try to run all this down in enough time. So childhood trauma, it can be sudden or violent loss of a loved one. It can be neglect, psychological, physical, or sexual abuse. It can be community and school violence, witnessing or experiencing intimate partner violence, or commercial sex exploitation porn, serious accidents, or life-threatening illnesses. These are the traumatic traumas of children. And if your child doesn't process those emotions as children, again, if you ignore your emotions, your body will start screaming to be heard. Even with a child, no matter how young, their bodies go through that traumatic experience. If your child was touched in a sexual way at 4, that 4-year-old's body is going to react to that touch, and they're only 4 years old. Can be boy or girl. Stimulation in those body areas, those body part areas, is going to react even though they're 4. And so when they get older, and if they haven't told mommy or daddy or anybody about it, what are they seeking? That sexual feeling, that act. And what do children do? They demonstrate what's been demonstrated on them. It's a learned behavior. They're going to start learning that behavior and do it to someone else. Or they're going to want to play with somebody and play with their private parts. So don't think because your child is 4, it's even younger than that, that their body is not going through that emotion and that reaction. Trauma in adulthood is, a traumatic event that involves either an actual or possible death or serious injury, sexual violence, rape, sexual assault, sex trafficking. It can also be a chronic, meaning that similar events happen many times over a long period of time. So for adults, you can have chronic traumatic experiences. A similar event, not the same one, but a similar event happens over and over and over and over again. Let's go back to the Bowlby attachment theory. It's supposed to be attached to, the parents. If you didn't have attachment to your mom wasn't there to nurture you, your mom never told you you were beautiful, your mom never told you they loved you, your mom called you stupid, your mom called you dumb, you never had an attachment to your mother, which is supposed to be your first love. The same thing with your father for girls. Your dad's supposed to be your first love. Your mom for the boys, that's what I say, mama's boys and daddy's girls. But if you never had an attachment, not so much with the dad, I don't know why that is, but it comes out when you get older. Because the mom can nourish that part of the parent, the absent parent. Either the father is absent or the mother is absent, but that part can be nourished. You can have an aunt that steps in for you as the mother figure. You can have a brother that steps in for the father figure, or an uncle. That part can be nourished, but it'll still come out when you're an adult. So if you didn't have attachment to your mother, you're not going to view your mother in a healthy way. And if you don't view your mother in a healthy way, you're not going to view women in a healthy way. And if you get into a relationship with a woman and she do you wrong, or you get in a relationship with a man and he does you wrong, the first thing you're going to think back to is my mother did that to me, my dad did that to me. You're going to cancel out both sets. Women ain't no good, men ain't no good. And so every relationship that you get in, you're dragging that traumatic experience with you. And it's reoccurring over time, but with different people. Because you never process what happened. You never process those emotions. You never got that out of your body. You still carry that with you. So they were talking about treatment methods, and these are alternative treatment methods that they were talking about, which was kind of cool to me. He was saying to try to find a way to become calm and focused. It's 4 things that you have to find and try to do within yourself. Find a way to become calm and focused, because when you're going through this traumatic thing, when you're getting triggered, your mind is not focused. Your mind is back on whatever happened It can be 2 weeks ago. It can be 10 years ago. It can be 20 years ago. Your mind is right back on it as if you're living that same traumatic incident today. Remember, I said whatever you perceive. Get back to it. Let me get back to it. Let me get to it. In the mind, we perceive it, and we feel it in our body. So it's still happening to me. Oh, this person thinks I'm crazy. I know what they're doing. They playing me. You perceive it in your body. Treatment. All right. So the first thing they were saying, find a way to become calm and focused. Then he was saying, try to maintain that calm in response to the things, events, and people that trigger you to the past. So that means to me, in my mind, you have to acknowledge this thing that happened to me in the past is keep coming up. I'm still feeling some type of way, even though you're not saying it, you're still feeling some type of way in your body. As I said, if I feel, me personally, if I feel like somebody is pushing me too much, I keep saying no. Unfortunately, I can't do that. No, I don't want to go to that. And I feel like somebody is pushing me too much. I'm pushing back. I can only say no twice. And if you don't get it, I'm pushing back. That's my defense. I'm pushing back. My tone might change. I know my body going to change. And I know you're going to see it all up in my face. You're going to see it all up in my face. And that's when I know I'll say, okay, this person may not be getting it. Let me go take a walk before I say something out my mouth. Or, because I know I'm quick with the hands. Before I touch this, before what they say, I lay paws on them. Before I lay paws on them, I'm quick with the hands. I know that about myself. If I feel like you're pushing me, and I already told you no twice, I'm only going to say it twice. I'm an adult. No, maybe you didn't hear me. I'm an adult. You're pushing up against me. Kimball, just walk away from this person. They not really understanding you right now. And I always tell myself, you don't want to go to jail. You don't want to put your hands on this person because I'm an adult. If I put my hands on somebody, that's assault. I don't want to go to jail. I used to want to go to jail. I used to do it back in the day, but Kimball, you don't want to do that right now. So maintain that calmness in a response to things that the people can trigger you from your past. Also acknowledge being in the present in your life. Whatever happened in the past, you're still feeling in your body, if you're real stiff, be present. I'm here at this moment in time. Take a deep breath. Gather your thoughts. And some people's thoughts like this that probably will be, this person got me. That can be a thought. Some people talk to themselves. They talk it out before they go from 0 to 1,000. And do not keep secrets from yourself. Now, what does that mean? I'm not mad. I'm all right. Nah, that didn't bother me. I'm good. Somebody done said something to you that you didn't like. It just made you feel some type of way. And you keeping that to yourself. And then you go home and you talking or you call your friend up, like, guess what this chick done did? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Or guess what this person at work done did? You kept that secret and now your body is carrying that. The body go through a lot, don't it? It goes through a lot. And if you don't release those things, you see why my my twin sister always say the millennials look older than we do. She's like, oh, they old. They in their 30s. Look at they look old. They may have been through a lot. People experience things and they go through a lot. It ages you. Anger ages you. Frustration angers you. Confusion and discord. Mm, it takes a toll on your body. So he was saying about medications, Prozac and Valium and Zoloft, those things they'll give you, but they make you feel less. You might not have no feelings, no emotions, the Prozac, but that's the temporary fix. You'll feel less overwhelmed, but you'll feel less pleasure and you won't have much enjoyment. You're a walking zombie. That's why he was saying 7 surprising ways to heal trauma without medications. Dr. Bessel says, the psychiatrist in the psychiatric field says, you can process and cope through this traumatic thing that you're going through without medications. What doctor says that? Because Big Pharma is all up in our business right now, giving you medications, just pushing it on you. Even in the medical field, high blood pressure can be conducive to stress. Stroke, heart attack, conducive to stress. Fibromyalgia, stress in the body. MS, you can have stress in the body. Sickle cell anemia, you can have a flare up from stress in the body. But this one doctor, Dr. Van Der Kolk, that's saying you don't really need medication to cope. Isn't that a wonderful thing? He says you can easily manage or make it through just one day. That's what I tell people when they call a hotline sometimes. They're like, I just can't, I'm not going to be able to do it. Let's go minute by minute. You're on the phone with me. Let's talk about this minute by minute. You have all the time in the world, just minute by minute. Let's talk this out minute by minute. Give me some reasons that you want to live. Think of something small that you want to, that's keeping you here. If you can make it through one day and manage that one day, you have learned how to cope with life, with people, interactions, and the world. Another treatment he was talking about, music. We all know that music it helps soothe our soul. Sometimes you can listen to some blues, some R&B, old school '90s music, some praise and worship music, some classical music, some opera music, whatever helps soothe you in that moment. And I tell people the emotion that we ignore the most is crying, weeping, sobbing. Everybody says, I don't want to cry. It makes me feel weak. And I don't know what it is when they say that on the phone to me. I don't want to cry. I'm not going to cry. And they just start weeping. They just start weeping. I tell people that when I was in therapy. They'd come into my office and they'll leave out 45, 60 minutes later. wiping their nose, blowing it with a tissue, giving a hug. And they're like, I didn't come here for all of that. Yeah, you did. I didn't want to make you cry, but you needed it. Crying is an emotion when we're so overwhelmed in our bodies, it comes out in our tears. So if you're so overwhelmed in your body, if you're not weeping, having it come out of the body, it's going into the body as anger and it's staying there. And you're packing it down. That guilt or shame, you're packing it down. You're packing it down. And I keep forgetting because I used to demonstrate this in my therapy sessions. If you have so much anger in you and you had a balloon and you keep blowing that balloon up, I'm trying to think. I know I have some balloons. I just don't want to get up to get it. I'll do this. I'll demonstrate this maybe tomorrow when I find out what these balloons are. But if you keep blowing that balloon up, that balloon is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the end, that thing's going to bust. Wow. And so I tell people if they can't communicate what's going on, and these grown people, these grown adults, I do it for my children too. I used to do it for my children too, but for my adults that can't communicate. You feeling angry at that moment, take that balloon out of your pocket and just keep blowing it up. And the person that's in front of you, I'm like, yo, what you doing? They see the balloon. Like, what you doing? Oh, nothing. I'm just blowing this balloon up because I'm mad as hell right now. I'm mad as hell. And so the person that you're with, like, yo, what's going on? What happened? Did I say something? Did I do something? Talk to me. And you can let the air out the balloon, gather yourself, and talk to that person. And they always say, well, they're going to jump in. They're not going to let me finish. I used to give them a pen. Keep a pen with you. Give them the pen. Tell them to hold the pen. And as soon as you're finished talking, you will grab the pen from them to let them know that now they can say something. He was talking about doing yoga. Yoga helps the body. Stretching, being in a room with peace, calmness. Like people say, it changes the atmosphere. You leave out of your house, you slam the door, and you done said something to somebody inside the house, you slam the door. All that's still in the air. I tell people go to the gym, walk away, go for a walk. For my men, shadow box. You got a punching bag down. I got a punching bag downstairs. Punch on the bed. Skip some rope. Lift some weights. Get that tension out of the body. One thing he was talking about was EMDR, which he said had a 60% cure rate. This is eye movement and desensitization and reprocessing. It's for you to call up the stuff that really bothered you, and then you become aware of that in your eye movement. EMDR. Francine Shapiro created this treatment in 1987, but it's coming to fruition now because it was such a bizarre treatment back in the day. And I constitute it kind of as like hypnosis. You're looking at this clock. Pay attention to the clock. You close your eyes. Now you hear the clock. You hear the clock ticking. Now you're listening to the person's voice, and they're taking you back to become aware of what happened to you in the past, and you process that. It was originally designed to alleviate the distress associated with the traumatic memories without talking. EMDR, you don't talk. In psychoanalytic theory and narrative therapy and all the other therapies, you talk it out. But EMDR is without talking, it's with eye movements. And he said there's a 60% cure rate. A lot of people don't know about EMDR. I don't know if a lot of insurance pay for it, but it's a new wave that's coming out. He would say also things about theater. Theater, you can act out those emotions. Take a theater class. What, Kimball? Take a theater class. Acting. Act out those emotions and get those things out. I know it was a new craze back in, I believe, 2015, 2014, and over in Jersey, where this this guy, I believe it was a guy and a girl, they were having smash rooms. You go to this place, and they have these smash rooms. You can pay to smash and break things up. TVs, big appliance, washing machines, refrigerators, mirrors, all these things. You just go in this big old room, it's padded, and you smash things up. And that was therapeutic for people. Don't know what happened to that. I probably would like to get back into that once I get my building. I think that's very progressive to get that out. I'm trying to read my notes. So EMDR will help you reprocess what you remember from the negative event. Reprocessing helps repair the mental injury that the memory has held in it. You heal from emotional distress that the results are disturbing, and it's a life experience. So you heal from it. You're able to heal from it. Healing is a process. It's a process. I'm going to post the video by the interview that Dr. Chatterjee did with Dr. Bessel Van Der Kolk. I'll repost that video. Pay attention to it. It's really interesting. You can fast forward it on parts. It talks about trauma versus stress. It talks about different treatments, how the body reacts to things. I'll repost that. I'm going to be putting up some resources in the comment section. But we do have the Trauma Initiative and Resources Network of Neighbors. Their contact number is 267-233-4837. That's the Network of Neighbors Trauma Response Team, 267-233-4837. I like this one, and I think I gave this out before. Black Men Heal. Oh, Black Men Heal. They give out 8 free therapy sessions. I will leave their website in the comment section. Black Men Heal. These are African-American therapists, psychiatrists, doctors. They do New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Delaware, the tri-state area. Black Men Heal. They give out 8 free therapy sessions. Families of murder victims, their contact number is 267-217-3754. Family of murder victims, contact number is 267-217-3754. Next week, I believe it's the 27th of February. We have 29 days in February, guys. 29 days. So happy birthday to our leap year babies this year. But next week, I will have a special guest on next week, Okichi Davis. She is the founder and CEO of the company Endeavoring Wellness Clinical Therapy and Consultation. She'll be coming on talking about what therapy is. She'll explain some therapeutic things she go through, and she'll have resources for her therapist that she has that's open for accepting new therapy clients. I have some things coming down the pipe. I'm so excited about. I am working on guest speakers for March. I have I I have 2 in mind already. I'm trying to get a third one up. I'm also trying to get a young man from Revival Christian Church. I'm gonna give a shout out to Gabe to come and do a segment every Wednesday, just for millennials, just for our young people, for our youth, our young adults. So shout out to Gabe. He really, really impressed me when he did his testimony the Sunday before last. And so I'm going to try to have him on a segment either the second or third Wednesday of every month. You'll see Gabe on. Okay. I still have my Pass the Mic event that's coming up March 16th. Tickets are $15. I have a venue space, guys. I have a venue space. So 4941 Wayne Avenue. This is a private studio space. We will be in the house. It's very comfortable. It looks very therapeutic. We're going to be talking about mental health, getting questions from our youth, answering questions for them, asking them how mental health or mental illness, if they even know about it, how it affects them, and provide them with psychoeducation on mental health. How do you end the negative stigma of mental health or mental illness? You talk about it. This mental health and mental illness was not talked about 20 years ago. It wasn't talked about. It needs to be talked about now, so our children can be educated on it. Just like they took they took physical education out to schools. They took prayer out to schools. We need to start talking about these things with our children and being upfront and honest with our kids and stop hiding things from them. Because when they go off in the world, they'll find out a different way. So join me on March 16th at our Pass the Mic event. I'm going to be having, hopefully DBH IDS will be there, handing out some information and resources for mental health. You can come. Parents can come. Please come, parents. Please come. If you want to come and talk about some things that's happening that you have concerns about, this event is open for everybody. I will leave the Eventbrite link in the comment section for tickets to be purchased. And stay tuned for May. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do this around Mother's Day or after Mother's Day. I'm not quite sure. It may not even be in May. I'm just thinking about it, to have a healing journal workshop. My book, The Healing Journal, I am getting a lot of reviews back. There are positive reviews back from people that have already purchased my book, that already has been going through the workbook. I want to try to gather those people up and more people to have a workshop, an intensive workshop that we can come together and honestly peel back the artichoke. Artichoke has many layers, not just like a onion, but peel back that artichoke and acknowledge some things and start the healing process, whatever that may look like for you. So stay tuned for that. Maybe in in May, possibly having a healing journal workshop. Just stay tuned for that. Again, I thank you guys for being present with me tonight. I appreciate you guys. Please like and share this broadcast and follow me or subscribe to my YouTube channel, people. My YouTube channel is called The Trap Lounge. Subscribe to it, press the like button, and share. I enjoyed tonight with you guys. I will see you next week with our special guest, Okichi Davis. Be safe and have a good night.